It ain't easy to come by that kind of hair.
No, it ain't.
You just can't blame Africa. It's willful.
That's what it is.
Then, them some willful, intentional naps you got all over your head.
Sure enough.
Your hair intended to be nappy.
Indeed it did.
I mean combing your hair.
Yep.
It's like scrunching through the New Mexico desert in brogans in the heat of summer.
That's what it is.
It's like crunching through snow.
Yep.
About a foot, 2 feet at least.
Mm-hmm.
With 2 inches of crust on the top.
I can't hear it.
Y'all know how it sounds when you're scrunching through snow like that.
I can hear it.
That's what her hair sounds like when she comb it out in the morning.
Brother, you got to be ashamed.
Ashamed? I'm not ashamed. I'm proud. She's the only one in her school knows how to talk, right?
Ain't she something?
A rose among 1,000 thorns.
I know
Them old hard heads think they can talk English.
it. Yeah.
But this child talks the king's English.
I hear.
Talk the queen's English too.
She can do it.
But she sure, Lord, got some nappy hair on her head.
Now, why has he got to come back here like that?
And I'm going to tell y'all how she came up with all this nappy hair.
Brother, will you stop?
Her hair was an act of God.
Lord, listen to him now.
An act of God that came straight through Africa.
Well,
You see, the angels went up to God.
Here he goes.
Angels walk up to God to talk him out of it.
Will you listen to this?
Yep, they say, Lord, Lord, Lord.
Well,
Why you got to be so mean? Why you got to be so willful? Why you got to be so ornery? Thinking about giving that nappy hair to that innocent little child.
innocent.
Sweet little girl like that, and you napping up her hair like you ain't got good sense.
That's what they say.
Napping up her hair 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 complete circles per inch.
Brother,
I'm talking about 8 complete circles per inch of hair.
police.
And the angels trying to talk him out of it.
Yep.
But God wanted himself some nappy hair upon the face of the earth.
That's what it was.
So God turned himself around, looked them angels square in the face.
Yes, he did.
And God say, get out of my way.
Yep.
He say, this is my world.
It's the truth.
This is my world, and this child,
Well,
this sweet little brown baby girl child,
we hear you.
she's going to have the nappiest hair in the world.
That's what he said.
Ain't going to be nothing they come up with going to straighten this child's hair.
What you gonna do?
I'm talking about straightening combs.
Can it really be?
I'm talking about relaxers and processors.
You said it.
Ain't nothing going to straighten up the naps on this child's head.
What you say?
And it was done.
Yeah.
So here she comes,
Well,
sitting back in Africa making plans,
that's where it was.
squinching her eyes and looking deep,
She was deep.
getting ready to come to America with them slaves.
Did he want to come over here?
Sold your mama for a nickel
Yes, Lord, they did.
and your daddy for a dime.
Yep.
I say they sold your mama for a buffalo
That's that's the way it was.
and your daddy, they sold him for 1 thin dime.
That's what they did.
But this nap come riding express, coming on across the ocean from Africa, wouldn't stop for nothing.
Didn't she come?
Danced right on through all the wimp hair,
Didn't want it.
wouldn't stop, wouldn't mix, wouldn't slow down for nobody.
Wouldn't do it.
Every time they tried to mess with her hair,
I can see it.
she stomped it, kicked it, snuck on around, and came on through.
That's what she did.
Thinks she playing football,
Yep.
basketball or something,
Yep.
dribbling on down the line.
She's the one.
And when she was born,
We remember.
when we looked down on her in the cradle,
What did we see?
we all shout out and jump back,
Did we jump?
laugh and shout, because I tell you, she had the kinkiest, the nappiest, the fuzziest, the most screwed up, squeezed up, knotted up, tangled up, twisted up, nappiest. I'm telling you, she had the nappiest hair you ever seen in your life.
That's what it was.
And the Lord in heaven,
What you say?
the Lord who brought the Israelites out of Egypt,
Yes, he did.
he looked down on this cute little brown baby girl.
He looked down at her.
He looked at her and he say, well done.
Yep.
He say, I got me one.
That's what he said.
One nap of her hair is the only perfect circle in nature.
Well,
I got me a cute little brown baby girl.
keep talking.
I got me at long last this cute little brown baby girl.
Well,
And she's got the nappiest hair in the world.
ain't that the truth? Okay, so this is just a cute little story. Thank you. That you can read sometimes for parents or whatever, but for just the children, and I have used it with children, just to let them know that there's nothing wrong with having that willful, nappy, kinky, scrunched up hair, and that everybody's beautiful no matter what, and that she's beautiful to somebody, even if it's just the people at her house, that everybody is loved, and we have to then appreciate different things about different children, and that's good for everybody. All right, I'd like to thank you for your participation and your hard work and active participation, and I've enjoyed being here with you in Tennessee and look forward to maybe seeing some of you again. Thank you. All right, let me see. Do have to pull some more numbers or while Dr. Brown and Dr. Hood are getting ready. I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 names. Okay, so 12 numbers. Let's go. 160. All right, come on down. 180. 160, 180. All right, come on over. 179. 159. Okay. 187. 176. Okay, let me shake them up. 194. 192. 184. I think it's 12 things. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. It's right there. 162. 169. 167. And 182. All right, and then as Beverly's passing, is one more thing? Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Let me see. Well, I might have something that's over here.
I can pick something from the table.
Oh, let me see. I might have to come up with something. Uh-oh. I probably have something that's over here around here somewhere. I'll get with you in a minute. And here are your certificates. How many people? 4, 5. Okay, you pass those around. 2 and 3. 4. Yeah.
So we normally will have a banquet style luncheon, and it is set up that way next door. But what we're going to do is let Dr. Hood come in and speak to you and give out the certificates. And before you leave, you can go next door and eat on your way out to go home. So we're trying to accommodate your travel suggestions. And we do want all of you to be safe and we want to beat this rain. All of us need to beat this rain. So I hope all of you do have a safe trip home. I want to stall a few minutes and wait till Dr. Hood gets in before I introduce him. That's always the best thing, isn't it? So I give you a minute to just pack up your things and so you can be prepared to just leave and go next door. They've set up very nicely next door. I hope all of you have enjoyed the Institute this week. And good, very good. I hope you're able to use all of the suggestions and all of the activities that you do. Oh, good. Good. I really enjoy being back in Tennessee, even though I don't come for a long period of time now. We've had the Nutrition Institute in 7 of 8 states now. And so once I've gone through it, to save the government a little money, I just come down this day. And I think that's we always think about saving money. Some people don't, they think we have a lot of money and we can just spend it the way we want to, but I'm accountable to the people. I think it's the people's money, and I don't like to waste it. And so I'm always looking at a budget. So I know you are too. And for those of you who've had reviews this year, I hope you've come out successfully without being deficient. And if any of you have had reviews and come out deficient, I know you're going to work hard to get off the deficiency list by next year. And all the things that you do here will contribute to that success of your program. And I'm glad that you can do that. And I think all of our programs have worked hard over the years to produce quality programs for our children and families out there, and that you're getting used to the new revised performance standards. And I hope most of you are working toward serving early Head Start children, 0 to 3, and that you're working towards full-year, 4-day Head Start. You've heard all of these things because it's part of our 2002 objective, national objective, and increasing of children. And I know there are a lot of accommodations you have to make and adjustments you have to make rather to the changes that have come about because of revised standards and because of 2002 objectives. Okay, no.
You gonna come in here, please?
Yes, we're gonna, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to move to the next room, that'll be fine. Do we want to move to the next room and just go on from there so we can have a podium? Are you set up in the next room that we can do that very quickly? Because the people will be coming in to set up the food. Is it okay? You want to just do it here? Okay, since you're all seated and therefore when we move to the next room, you can just go in and eat and sit down and fellowship a few minutes before you hit the road. And I hope you will take time to do that and to come back again whenever we have anything. And for those of you who are also health coordinators, whatever, we are planning a health collaboration conference in June 29th and 30th. I thought the flyers were already out, but I talked to one of you and you have not received the flyer. So hopefully you'll put it on your agenda to come to the Regional Health Collaboration Conference in June 29th and 30th. It will be held at the Radisson Renaissance, the Atlanta Renaissance. I think any of you who have been to Atlanta have probably been to the Renaissance with some of our activities. I think we use the Renaissance more often than the Hilton than any other place. Ted, can you put the other mic on Dr. Hood?
Yeah, he's
It's already on?
Doc, say something, let me make sure.
Hello?
Oh, yes. I think mine is, can you still hear me? Okay. Let me introduce Dr. Hood and we're prepared to go to the next room and prepare to depart. But after Dr. Hood, I will give out the certificate, so don't move. Years have passed, and an event of the past that found the governor of Alabama standing in the doorway of the University of Alabama to prevent the entry of black students has become history and the background for a book by the speaker to be published in March 1998 entitled George, The Stand That Delivered, One Man's Perspective of Alabama's Governor George Corley Wallace. It was an era when discrimination was rampant. Jim Crow practices, disparaging consideration of the Negro race, and white supremacy convictions and beliefs dominated the educational, political, cultural, economic, and religious existence of Southern whites. At that time, there came a young man named James Hood who fought for, and gained admission to the University of Alabama. Dr. Hood's course to the PhD degree saw him receive the BA degree from Wayne State University, Detroit, Michigan, in 1970, with majors in political science and sociology. The Master of Science degree with a Criminal Justice Administration major was earned at Michigan State University in East Lansing, Michigan in March of 1972. In May of 1997, Dr. Hood received the Doctor of Philosophy degree from the University of Alabama, from the school whose doors he helped open to black students, and in so doing, opened the doors of higher education throughout the South that had been closed to a people because of their race. Dr. Hood has been the subject of hundreds of articles, books, and movies, including the movie aired in August 1997 entitled George Wallace. Dr. Hood is chairperson of the Human and Protective Services at Madison Area Technical College in Madison, Wisconsin. He has served as Deputy Police Chief and Deputy Mayor for the city of Detroit, pastor of Boulevard Temple United Methodist Church in Detroit, and has been a social worker, community organizer, teacher, Ford Motor Company manufacturing administrator, along with a number of other positions over the past 30 years. Dr. Hood has been a trainer, consultant for the American Management Association and has conducted training for the Metropolitan Police Scotland Yard of the United Kingdom, 3M Corporation, Chrysler Corporation, the United States Department of Education, Wisconsin Department of Transportation, and dozens of other organizations and agencies. Among his other organizational affiliations are the Ashbury United Methodist Church, where he was a member, Phi Kappa Delta Fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, and numerous professional, educational, and vocational associations. Now I present to some and introduce to others Dr. James A. Hood.
Most of you should have, I hope, a booklet called A Planning Guide for Food Services in Child Care Centers. So it's that little thin red book. And I want you to turn to page 25 in that. That's the book you were using. I think, Sandra, didn't you use that? Where's that? You should have it. It's a little thin one. You left it in your room? All right. Well, let me just suggest that most of you have your notebooks. You might want to just jot down some things that I want to talk to you about on page 25 of that book. This is the one that it is. It's an orange book that looks like this. Sure it's not in your notebook? Well, anyway, all right, most of you should have a copy someplace around. Let me just suggest that you might want to just make some notes, because primarily what I want to talk to you about, the subject is nutrition for the body, mind, and the soul. And on page 25, no, because part of it has to do with an introduction to food, to nutritional education, which is on page 24 and 25, which is what I'm going to refer to. What I want to point out to all of you, as you probably know, but it's worth re-emphasizing, and that is that each one of you are a part of a team, okay? The teachers in your Head Start program are not going to be successful without you, whether you know it or not. Nutrition is a vital part of the educational process of a child. If kids are not satisfied as far as their hunger is concerned, the mind doesn't work. You can't learn when you're hungry. So it becomes vitally important that what you do is complementary to the educational process, even though what you do is probably more educational to the children than is the academic part. Now let me explain to you why that is significant. What you are trying, and what Sandy talked to you about, is choices, okay? You are dealing with little people. There's an old joke about a spaceship that landed in Paducah, Kentucky. And all of these little bitty men jumped off of the spaceship, and they were running around looking around behind the trees, and all of a sudden one of the farmers came out and says, "Hey, fellas, what you little bitty men looking for?" And one of the little bitty men says, little bitty women. So these little bitty children, these little people that we're talking about, your involvement in their lives perhaps may be the first opportunity for them to make choices based on a variety of circumstances, okay? And food choices are probably more important to their long-term survival than any of the other choices. People die because they don't eat right, okay? People die because of improper diets. So it becomes vitally important that when you try to do the job that you do, that you, above all else, realize that what you are teaching the children to do, in addition to eating properly, is to choose the right combination of food groups. So on page 25 of that book, there's some things that I just want you to put a little note in your book or in your notebook that you ought to remember when you go back to wherever it is you're going back to. The first one is that your educational program as a nutritionist should prepare children to make correct choices, okay? Not right, but correct choices. Because everything that is right is not always correct, okay? So you want them to make the correct choices. And when we talk about correct, what we mean is that they have a variety of things to choose from, and they choose the correct thing from that group, okay? So you want them to make correct choices. That's a principal responsibility of yours. The second thing is that you want them to develop a positive attitude toward food. But that positive attitude that you want them to develop can also be a positive attitude about life and about other people. So when you are trying to get them to make an adjustment, a modification in their behavior so that they look upon things as positive, particularly food, you also want them to look upon people as positive, as life as positive. Had the experience several years ago to have a kid come up to me and I said, you know, what is it that is most important to you? And he said, living. And I said, living? Yes. 12 years old. He's worried about living. And when I said, well, can you explain to me? He said, yeah. He said, half of my friends are all dead. And I realized that he was living in an environment where death was probably more appropriate as an everyday occurrence than living. So his thing was, the most important thing to him was living. To be 13, as a matter of fact, that was his major concern. If I can just live to be 13, man, I got it made. At least that's one more year. And then I guess when he got 13, he'd want to live to be 14. But the idea is the positive attitude that you're trying to get the young people at least in mind to think about. The third thing that you need to also consider is variety. Now, Sandy probably talked to you about all the varieties of people. Well, you're going to be dealing with a variety of little people. Every little person that you deal with is a unique person in and of himself or herself. No two kids are the same. All of them are different. Every one of them bring a different personality to the table. What you have to recognize is that that difference makes not only a difference in terms of how you deal with that person, but that difference will very well make a difference in terms of how that person deals with the world. So it is vitally important that you recognize that there is variety as well as difference among the kids that you're dealing with, just as there is in our whole of society. The next thing that you need to try and continue to do, you more so than anyone else, is to develop a cooperative effort. That you can't change behavior of kids about food without parents. You cannot do it without parent support. You must also have the support of your colleagues at your Head Start program. So cooperative effort is vitally important to the success of a nutritional education program, or to your success as the person responsible for that program. Another thing that you want to do is to incorporate an integrated learning activity or experience. And I think Sandy probably talked to you about that, integrating things in. Basically, what you want to do is to make learning fun. You want to make the learning experience fun. How many of you have kids? Raise your hand. Okay, put your hand up. How many times have your kid come home and said, Mama, you know, or Dad, you know, I don't know what them teachers, they're crazy. You know, they don't know nothing. You know, I remember my youngest kid come home, and he was livid, because the teacher was dumb. And I said, what do you mean the teacher's dumb? Well, you know, the first thing she said was, Marvis, if 2 and 2 is 4, and 4 and 4 is 8, what is 8 and 8? And I said, and what did you say? And he said, I told her it was 16. And she said, I know. Then she said, who wrote the Declaration of Independence? And then I told her. And I said, what did she say? She said, that was right. And I said, well, why are you upset? He said, but then the third question I asked her is, why are you asking me everything if you already know? So there is a belief that teachers don't know what they're talking about because they're always asking you. But then you think about that. Think about this. Did you know you pay to tell things? You pay people to listen to you. Go to a doctor. What is the first question the doctor asks you as soon as he walks in the room? What's wrong with you? Hell, if I knew what was wrong with me, I wouldn't be here, right? So you're paying him for you to tell him or her what's wrong with you. Think about that. You walk in there and you're hurting. The first thing is, what's wrong? Well, doc, if I knew what was wrong, I wouldn't be here. I would take care of it. But again, let me suggest something else to you. I want you to try this. And if you're successful, I want you to call me, and I'm going to give you the number to call me if you're successful. Don't call me unless you're successful. I want you to start this afternoon at 6 o'clock. At 6 p.m. From 6 p.m. this evening till 6 p.m. tomorrow, I want you not to talk about yourself or anyone else. Do not talk about yourself or anyone else for 12 hours. Now, half of that time you're going to be sleeping. But I want you to live through a period of your life without talking about yourself or somebody else. And realize how much time you're going to have. Realize how most of your time is spent talking about yourself or somebody else. So if you didn't talk about you and you didn't talk about somebody else, and you save that time, realize how much time you're going to have over the next 12 hours. Try it for me, okay? Don't talk about you and don't talk about anybody else. Just talk about anything else except you and somebody else. Your husband, your kids, your mom, your dad, nobody else. Don't talk about other folks. Just talk. And see how much conversation you're going to have over the next 12 hours when you're not talking about you or somebody else. And what you're going to learn is the simple truth, that most of our time is spent talking about somebody else or ourselves. So what are we doing when we're talking about us and somebody else? Huh? Gossiping, right? Gossiping. When you think about it, we're not solving our problem, but we're talking about it. Well, you know, I had a bad day at the office today, or I had a bad, you know those kids? Other folks, not you. But you know, I went to the store and don't talk about what happened at the store. Nobody at the store. Just, I went to the store. Well, what happened? And can't talk about you, can't talk about anybody else. I went to the store. Home. Here. Okay? Can't even say you. Here. I mean, you'd be surprised how little conversation there will be if you left out yourself and somebody else. And yet, you don't consider your life to be interdependent or interconnected. And yet it is. Our lives are so intertwined with other folks that if we eliminated other folks from our lives, we don't have one. We don't really have one. So what I'm saying to you is that realize that just like that is significant in your own life, so it is with the kids. They live in an interconnected world. And what you have to do is to do what I call the building block approach to their lives. You know, how many of you have kids with the little blocks that, what do you call them? Lego blocks, right? You know, you build them up and then all of a sudden you smash them. The important thing to realize is that philosophy. A lot of time may be spent building those lives, and somebody can come along and just smash them. So what you want those young people to have is a positive attitude about that possibility. That you don't have to let somebody smash your life and lay there and take it. Make the right choice. Get up. Integrating the learning activity simply means to try and get them to see that learning is fun and that everything you do, from the day you were born to the day you die, is learning. It's a learning experience. Every day you live, you learn something. Now, you might not keep it, but you learn it. This morning when you got up, you learned one lesson. It's a repeated lesson, but you learned it. I'm alive. Did you realize that? That's the lesson. I'm alive. You learned that all over again this morning. When you go to bed tonight, you're going to learn another lesson. Whew, it's over. Thank God. Wow. You know, another one down. But you're anticipating another one tomorrow. But what you've done today, once you lay down, is no more important. Okay? If you didn't make the right choices, if you didn't have a positive attitude about today, tonight, when you rest, it's not going to make that much difference. It's not going to make that much difference. The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam wrote once, "The moving finger writes and having writ moves on, and all your piety and wit, nor all your tears can wash away not one word." So simply put, yesterday is a canceled check. Tomorrow is a promissory note. Today is all the cash that you have. So you had best invest it wisely. Opportunity is ball. Once it passes, you can't grasp it by the hair and bring it back. The reason why most people miss their opportunity is because when opportunity knocks on the front door, they're out in the backyard looking for four-leaf clover. Okay? Or what's that other one? When opportunity comes to the airport, you're at the train station looking at the schedule. Anyway, moving right along. Another thing that you need to do is to get young people to identify, talk about, and enjoy variety. Now, not just recognize it, but you want them to identify it. Once they've identified it, what you want them to do is to feel freely to talk about it. You know, one of the hardest parts about society today, and most of you probably have been reading the paper over the last several months, the president put together this task force, and it's called a task force to dialogue about race. Talk about it, okay? Now, why do you think that we need a group to talk? Now, remember, I just asked you to do something for 12 hours. Don't talk about you or anybody else. Well, all of a sudden, we got a group now that's supposed to be developing a talking process. Well, now, let me ask you a question. You're parents, so most of you know. What is the hardest thing to get your kids to stop doing? Talking. Shut up! Be quiet! You get on my nerves. The hardest thing in the world for us to adjust to is people talking. Go to church, babies crying or making noise. gets you sidetracked from the service. Go to the market. Somebody walking through the market talking to themselves. You know, you don't really want to shop because you think that this market is for wackos, and you're not wacky. You know, but the person is reading their little checklist of things they're supposed to get. But you don't want to know that. Why don't they read it to themselves? Have you ever been walking through a mall and all of a sudden you approach a person who's talking, but there's nobody to talk to? Okay? Now immediately you, like I, would make an assumption, wouldn't we? That there's something loose in the person's, cupboard, right? That they are 2 cards shy of the 52 necessary for a deck. Okay? Or they don't got both oars in the water. But did you realize another thing? That person is talking to the most intelligent person in the world, themselves. All I got to do is ask any one of you, is there anybody more intelligent than you? And if you're going to be honest, you're going to say, no. Ain't nobody no better than me. Kids believe that. They believe that there's nobody in the world any better than they are until somebody teaches them differently. If you never told a kid they were different, they wouldn't know. They would never know they're different if you never told them. So they operate on what is called the ideal. So the ideal I'm suggesting to you is to help them identify, talk about, and then enjoy the opportunities that come as a part of their life. The last thing that's on page 25, 24, and 25 in your little book is something called develop a wholesome attitude to share and socialize. Develop a wholesome attitude to share and socialize. Now, folks, let me tell you. Did you know that the whole world operates or does not operate on those 3 principles? Think about it. Why is it that people can't get along? Because, quote, they're anti-socialists, what we say they are. Okay? But if they have been socialized appropriately, they know that in order to coexist, there are 2 things you must do. What are the 2 things? Nope. One is in, and the other one is see. And most of us don't do it very well. That's why we all got problems, me included. 2 words that cause society to coexist. It's called negotiation and compromise. To negotiate and compromise. We don't do those things very well. Democracy simply means to live with people who are different and not let those differences get on your nerves. What that simply means is negotiate and compromise. People who are different require some compromising because you don't like them, but they don't like you either. So since neither of you like each other, you got to live in the same space, you got to compromise. And what's compromise? You stay off my nerve, I'll stay off yours. Okay? That's compromise. I don't bother you, you don't bother me. Okay? Or kids say, my mama bigger than your mama, and my mama can beat your mama any other time. Okay? Now, what you got to get those kids to realize is, it's not how big your mama is. That ain't the problem. It's your mama's attitude. Yeah. Okay? But that becomes the major issue. When I was growing up, the worst thing in the world to do was talk about your mama. Okay? And today, people die over talking about mama. And yet, that's the most important person in your life. Because if it hadn't been for her, you wouldn't be here. Okay? So that's why she's so important. Pop, well, he just popped in on occasion. But mama, she's there forever. It's her responsibility to get you here. Now, Dad just stopped by to get you on the way, but mama has to make the trip out of it. Okay? Seriously. Okay? So what you have to realize is when you're dealing with those little people, you've got to help them understand the significance of the role. That mommy might not be perfect, but she's still mom. Okay? And that you've got to respect her whether you like it or not. Finally, let me tell you a and you probably can all identify with this. Some kind of little radical Jew guy named Jesus, I think it was. And all of a sudden, he gathered all these people together for a picnic, see? And they were sitting down by the lake. All of them just kind of hanging around. A whole bunch of them, too. A lot of them. Almost like a family reunion. They came all from all over the place just to see what this dude was going to do. And it's getting kind of dark and late, you know, and all of a sudden they've eaten up all the picnic basket stuff, and they wind up ain't enough food left. So this dude, Jesus, said, hey, man, when people get hungry, they're going to get rude, unrowdy. And I don't have a problem with discipline. So he looked around him. He had some fellas around who was hanging around him. He said, they called them disciples, I think they were. And he said, hey, guys, won't y'all, hey, come over here. I got something for you to do. I want you to go out there and check the crowd and see how much food there is out yonder. So they go out there and they check. Now, see, these dudes are urban dwellers. See, they know that there were no Hardee's and McDonald's, and all of a sudden, this is home-cooked food. So they come back and they look at this dude, and you know, you can see they're worried because they're perspiring and all this good stuff, and they say, Jesus, man, let me tell you something. All we can find among 5,000 people out yonder, 2 fishes and 5 loaves of bread. Now, Jesus doesn't have to be a mathematician to know that you can't feed 5,000 people with 2 fish fillets and 5 loaves of bread. That's almost like 5 sesame seed buns, folks, let me tell you. Okay? Now, I don't know, can you feed, 5,000 people with 5 sesame seed buns and 2 fishes? Well, see, this Jew dude, he was kind of interesting, though. He knew a little bit more than other folks did. So he said, you guys, come on, let's sit down and let's pray about this. Man, you can pray all you want. Ain't no way you're going to create more than 5 buns and 2 fishes. He says, trust me. Now, this is negotiation. The compromise is trust me. So they started to pray together. All of a sudden, he said, now I want you to go out and just start serving folks until you run out of food. So they did. See, now these dudes are skeptical anyway. Like your kids are, they're skeptical. You perform miracles, but they keep wondering, when are you going to be able to not perform? So as long as you keep performing miracles, the kids are going to trust you. And you do strange things with food. I'm sure saying peanut butter something, I heard somebody say, I'm going in there and taste that peanut butter something. Variety, but the problem is that's a miracle. You're taking ordinary and you're giving it something different. Now, I remember when Jiffy was more than peanut butter. It's an oil lubrication, too. Okay, now, for those of you who don't know the connection between peanut butter and oil lubrication, think about it. Anyway, moving right along, the idea is this dude told them to go out there and serve these people. And they did. And after they stopped serving 5,000 people, they wound out with a whole bushel of more food. And they didn't get it from the agriculture department. They didn't go down to the commissary. Well, you see all those people who were being served, they were being served by Head Start nutritionists. Okay? That's what y'all do every day. Y'all take a little bit of something and make a whole lot of something out of it. And you feed a whole lot of little bitty people who think that you are the best thing since cornflakes. Okay? Whether you know it or not, you are their connection. You are their link. You are the person who displays for them positive attitude. You are the person who makes the correct choices. You are the people who integrate. You are the people who make variety something they want to look forward to. So in doing so, I want to ask all of you to stand up, and let's see, I think we got some handouts for you. I know it's getting lunchtime, so I figured I'd better catch you before you do. Okay, I want each one of you to take one of these. Can you help me, sir? Need one more? Need 2 more? All right, we should have 2 more somewhere. I think we got enough, don't we? Okay. I want all of you to face me up here, I know you're probably like me, you don't like doing this. But if you're married, you've done it once before in your life. If you're a member of a church, you've done it. You've done it again. And if you've got kids, you do it every day. Lord, please. You know, just let me get through this one with this one. But anyway, I got a pledge here I want you to take. It's called the Nutritionist Pledge. I want you to raise your right hand. Now, as you're taking this pledge, I want you to remember what you sing, okay? Today, repeat it after me. Today, I pledge to be the best possible me, no matter how good I am. I know that I can become better. Today, I pledge to build on the work of yesterday, which will lead me into the rewards of tomorrow. Today, I pledge to feed my mind new knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Today, I pledge to reach for new goals, new challenges, and new horizons. Today, I pledge to listen to the beat of my drum, who leads me onward in search of dreams. Today, I pledge to believe in me. Okay? Now I want you to sit down and take your pen, because you've just taken a pledge. Now I'm going to ask you to do something with that pledge. Let's start with the first line. Today I pledge to be the best role model. That's what I want you to write there. The best role model that I can be. Okay? No matter how good, you see that part? I want you to write just beneath that. I am not perfect, but I'm working on it. I am not perfect, but I am working on it. I am not perfect, but I'm working on it. The next verse says, today I pledge to build. And I want you to write outside build. Strong character among my charge. Strong character among my charge. Okay? I pledge on the line where it says on the work of yesterday, I want you to write outside that. I pledge to create. I pledge to create a zest, Z-E-S-T, a zest for life. A zest for life, which will lead, strike out me, which will lead to a fruitful life, which will lead to a fruitful life. into the rewards. And, strike out into. And the rewards of tomorrow will be, and the rewards for tomorrow will be positive. Will be positive. Today I pledge to feed the minds, strike out my, and put in the, feed the minds and make it plural. Feed the minds, new knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, comma, so that they might live, so that they might live and become productive citizens. So that they might live and become productive citizens. Today I pledge to teach my children to reach for new goals, new challenges, and new horizons. Today I pledge to teach my children to reach. To teach my children to reach. Today I pledge to listen to them with my heart Today I pledge to listen to them with my heart and my soul. Period. With the Creator as my guide. With the Creator as my guide, I will hear their cries and respond to their needs. I will hear their cries and respond to their needs. Final verse. Today I pledge to believe in them. I pledge to believe in them. Scratch out me. You've already taken your pledge. This is your children's pledge. To believe in them. And to encourage each one. And to encourage each one to pursue. And to encourage each one to pursue his/her dream. To encourage each one to pursue his or her dream. Now, you now have a new pledge. That pledge is the one I want you to take back with you. And I want you to repeat that to your kids. Not necessarily from the page, but in terms of the way that you relate to them. And if you do that, the pledge you took before will become a real pledge. May you live as long as you want, and may you never want as long as you live. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Good. Let's give Dr. Good another big hand. That was very inspirational, and actually that pledge can be for everyone, for your program, for all of us. I'm going to take so much. We're going to quickly give out the certificates before you leave. I was hoping everyone would be able to get them before they leave. If you could just hold out a few more minutes, we'll give you that and just send up the food in there. You can go straight in there and start to eat before you get on the road. And right now, I think I can do this with one hand, hopefully. Let me see if I can.
Mike.
I've never been hooked up before. I think I can do it with one. That's okay. I can do it. I dropped some. Do I have pockets? Oh, I dropped a little piece. Let me just do it like this, so I won't take it away. Oh. I don't have pockets. Well, I guess. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? You can hear me? Oh. Oh. All right, Ted, what you doing back there? Okay. All right. Might go a little too long now. Okay, would you please come forward as I call your name? Dr. Bryan, could you come forward, please? Dr. Hood, could you please come forward, please? I think I just should. Okay. No, I think it just wasn't. Mary Slover. This is the Excellence Award presented to Mary Slover by the Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families for successfully completing 40 hours of nutrition and food service management training, April 27th to 30th, 1998, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Thank you so much. Rebecca Brantley. Missy Webb. Missy Webb. Sabrina Brewer. Sherry Hamby. Sherry Hamby. I just wanted to want to get your name. Natalie Moret. Natalie. Sabrina Brewer. Are you sisters? Sabrina. Sharon. Is that Baylor? Gayla. Sorry. Sharon Cox. Brenda Bean. Betty Owens. Betty Owens.
Nothing. I'm minding my own business. She's paranoid.
Allison Crone. Mildred Sharp. Mildred Sharp.
I didn't do anything.
Zona Rowland. Zona Rowland is left. Kay Hale. Carmen Parker. Oh, Kara Rosenbaum. Mary Sue Davis. James Rose Jr. Sharon Suggs. Joan House. He messed me up. Geraldine Steele.
One, get both of them. One, two. Oh, you like that. One, two, three.
Geraldine Steele.
One,
James Lauderdale. Mary Etta Blake. Annie Hill. Donna Chickwood. Mary Chickwood. Donna Chickwood. Wait, let's wait until we.
one,
Okay. Oh, all right. Oh, she wants to do it. Okay. All right.
two, three.
It didn't flash.
It didn't flash.
I didn't see it.
Try it again. Try it again.
One, two, you get two for the price of one. Three.
All right. Okay. Super.
Donna McKinney. Bonnie Hayes.
One, two, three.
Bonnie Hayes. Mildred Scarborough. Stop Scarborough. Carol Nance.
One, two. One, two, three.
Carol Nance. Debbie Early. Aggie Wilkerson.
All right. Three.
Pamela Barber.
One,
Pamela Barber.
two,
Oh, you didn't leave.
three.
Just in time. Pamela Barber.
One,
Beta Parker.
two,
Nope. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
look up, good, there you go, three.
They walked just in time.
One,
That was right on time.
two, are you in the top?
Shirley Adams.
Two, three.
Shirley Adams. Okay, Shirley Adams. Beta. Beta. You want to take that Beta or Bob? Beta. Okay. Maurice Hillsman.
One,
Maurice and I go back 27 years.
oh,
Susan Merrill.
questions.
What'd you do, get him lost?
One,
Oh.
2, 3.
Well, you didn't tell about last week, right?
Oh, no.
Bertha
No, come
Sanders.
on.
Bonnie Hayes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Andrea Overton.
Oh, so her turn. 1,
Aileen Miller.
2, 2.5.
Anyone know Aileen? Troy Russell.
They were said that.
Dawn Sherrill Smith.
Oh, here it is.
Carol Sims.
2, 2.5.
Carol Sims.
Miss Sim. Okay. 1,
Mary
2,
Risney. Karen May.
1, 2, 2.
Karen May.
1, 2,
Did we miss anyone?
3.
Did we miss anyone? Certificates of appreciation. We'd like to show our appreciation to those who harassed me the most, Mr. Ted Mangum. Thank you, Ted. You want me to take your picture? Now, you're going to use this for...
You gotta turn it up. Yeah, right there, yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
And where did Oliver go?
Well, probably latrine or something.
Well, this one is for Oliver, and he will get it. Thank you both. And to the person who helps us so much every time and who brings to you all of these cultural activities, food activities, and just does a great job in lugging this stuff all over, Miss Sandra Gann. Thank you, Jan.
1, 2.
This side, Sandra, this side.
What did you say? What did you say? I'll try. 1, 2.
I promise.
1, 2.
Carrie.
3.
There he is.
And last but not least, one who is always faithful and comes to help us each time. And from so far, Madison, Wisconsin, is it Madison, Wisconsin? Dr. James A. Hood, thank you so much. And I'd like to personally thank I call her Dr. Beverly sometimes, Dr. Bryant, who has done a fantastic job of coordinating all of the training sessions, and in this state and all the other states, done a wonderful job, and she's a perfectionist, and she really loves Head Start. Dr. Bryant, thank you so much.
This is being presented to Dr. Bryant. It says presented to Dr. Beverly A. Bryant by the Tennessee Head Start Association for Leadership and Dedicated Service, Nutrition and Food Service Institute, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 1998.
Nutrition and Food Service Institute, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, April 1998.
One.
This is so beautiful. For those of you who are here from Donna's program, I've known Donna many, many years, and I love her, and her sister is one of my stars. And so I just appreciate her so much, and I love her. Tell her thank you. It's beautiful. It shows her taste.
We appreciate you, all of you.
Thank you very much.
And also for Dr. James A. Hood. I didn't do these, Donald.
I have to tell you this, what was it? Who was it? Atlanta, right? Yeah, Atlanta. She got this, they had this plaque for me, and they had my name wrong. I mean, all the time I've known her, she can't get my middle initial right. It's A, not E. Okay? Anyway. Uh-oh.
One, two, three.
Thank you.
Again, I just want to say to all of you, this has really been a pleasure to work.
Excuse me, she didn't give her own. Wait a minute before you get this last one. This is also presented to Dr. Beverly A. Bryant from the Tennessee Head Start Association. Thank you so much.
One, two, stay flat.
Thank you so very much. I have brochures. Barbara Stopper told me to tell you she enjoyed so much. She's back in Massachusetts, and she has sent to you some of her brochures. Some of you were interested in the kids' video set. She has sent copies in case you're interested in ordering, and we'll put them back on the back for you. Again, thank you so much for your participation. I hope you can share with me a year later that you're doing some great things in nutrition, and I look to see you soon. Lunch.